What about it, YouTube? All right, so this is going to go out to more of my based audience, and I just want you to think about something. I don't want to be a doomer. Um, I would really love to, have something positive to get behind, and so that's what I'm gonna. Let's do a little mental experiment. Let's just, in a way, act like we're aliens looking down at the situation, and let's just think of it as we know a little bit of history, and let's review and see what the possibilities might be going forward. So imagine you got like a situation where politically people are feeling disenfranchised. Politically, people are feeling left behind. They're feeling isolated. They're feeling like their culture is under attack. Their way of life is under attack and being undermined. They feel like politically their representation has been taken over by foreign interests. And so they are just desperate for a leader. They're desperate for someone to be the voice of the people again and to give them hope and to tap into their ethnic pride and help them rise up from being downtrodden by this version of Zog. Okay, so let's say that that's the case today, and so you have this thing out there, this movement out there, and without deciding who's right, who's wrong, who's got the facts, and all that. Let's just label stuff and talk about it in a broad discussion, okay? If we can do that. All right. So there's this underbelly. There's this sleeping giant. There's this again. There's the There's the awakening of the masses to this control mechanism. That they realize that their voice isn't heard. That their elections are scams, and that so they're desperate again for a leader that will explain. Will finally clean house. All right, like not just talk about it, not just false hope of we're gonna drain the swamp and stuff. No, somebody who is real, right? And so let's just loosely call this thing that this movement. Let's call it this based, okay, philosophy. So this based philosophy is uprising, okay, and let's just say that somewhere rises a based leader, okay, someone who's just can articulate it so well. He can get a crowd moving, he can get people cheering, and it's just like this enormous push towards this final solution, right, of the problems that are, man, what do we got going on? I'm under attack. I'm under attack. It's the Jays. Help. Dude. I don't know if you saw that. He was pretty low. Going for a brag. All right. Excuse me for that. Incoming. Anyway, so this leader, he arises, okay, and he's got all this charisma, and his speeches, you can't it's just music to your ears, right? Like just everything that is just like that comes out of his mouth is just like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. Our people and our heritage and our values, and we're gonna get them back, and we're gonna burn all this filth, and we're gonna get rid of all this degeneracy, and we're gonna get rid of the element that's caused it all, and we're gonna clean it all up, and we're gonna ship them out, or we're gonna put them in special camps to learn to work or whatever, right? We're going to do all this, right? Whatever the solution is, but it's going to be this. It's going to be this base leader that seems to have the final solution. Who's apparently right. Done with the bad element to the body politic. So everybody gets behind him, and it rises and it takes over, and it's like Valhalla. It's for 10 years, takes over the economy, does what the banks do, uses the country's resources and the country's labor to develop credit. That credit is boundless and endless, and so you can create the latest and greatest in technology, and the latest and greatest in whatever war machinery and this and that, right? To fight other Zogs or whatever might be out there, right? So anyway, this leader rises up, okay? But imagine that you get behind this, right? You're like, oh yes, finally, yes, here he is, and you get behind all this, and then, however, whatever happens, it gets crushed out. He supposedly commits suicide. Outside forces, you thought it was bad before, they come in, they're burning down, raping, pillaging, and then instilling in you this forever guilt of how you treated this poor element in your country before. You forget all about how that element had messed you up at some other point, right? Or is still messing you up, and you just take on this guilt. Okay, I'm trying to explain this right, but look, if we get behind somebody who's like some based candidate, I just want you to understand there's this possibility that it's another ruse, it's another converso, right? Because apparently this one dude from 80 years ago, 90 years ago, Shecklegrubber was his name. He had a Jewish doctor named Bloch or something, Bloch, and he was an Edel Jew or something, Jude. It was like a noble Jew, and so look, Shecklegrubber, they're saying, I mean, I don't know, but Shecklegrubber, the rumor was for the longest, and now I guess it's come back up and being somewhat confirmed maybe, but Shecklegrubber, along with a lot of other supposed based candidates from that time, ended up in Argentina. So just imagine that you got some guy who he's your leader, right? But really he's another J working for Zog. He's just going to get you to come in and get you excited and built up to a point that it can all be crushed down to nothing. And so all that based, so think about at one point in time that was based, right? At one point in time that was based. That was nationalism, that was pride, that was based. And then it all gets crushed. Now anything that looks like it or resembles it, now it's fascism. Now it's you're a Nazi, right? So that's what I'm saying. That even now, you think, oh hey, yeah, we got the truth, we got the facts, we got it figured out, and then we got a leader and he's based, and here we go, woohoo! And then guess what? It was a converso the whole time. So what I'm saying is the enemy can realize that by allowing you, they even have terms for this, but by allowing you in Yiddish, but by allowing you to think that you're going somewhere, unwittingly they're running it, and you're following their guy who's just going to burn you out in the end, and burn the entire based philosophy out in the end, so that at the end of the day, a couple decades later, whatever it takes, you are AIDS. Everything you thought your philosophy was AIDS. You're demonized for the next 100 years as being pure AIDS. Anything that resembles you or anything that sounds like, you know what I mean? Please tell me in the comments if this made any sense. All right? I'm just wanting to have a discussion with people. Hey, we're all in this together. And How do you defeat Zog when, like I'm saying, a based candidate, you'd have to really know his genealogy. You'd have to really, I mean, who his doctors are. I mean, because what? He could just go retire after he burns you out in Argentina. All right. God bless.